Right, all set.
Excellent. So welcome everybody. It's Thursday, March 13th, and I like to open with an opportunity for anybody that hasn't been with us ever or hasn't been here in a while to introduce themselves, or if you just got something going on that's cool with a project, we'd love to hear about it. Any newbies out there? Well, that's good. We've got good gang together, and looks like more people are jumping on. So that's good situation. How about events? We've got this year. Let's see. I'm just going to look at the Vertical Flight Society events. We've got the H2 Aero Symposium next month, April 2nd and 3rd in Long Beach, California. Forum 81. Tom, our moderator, mentioned he's going to be there. That's in Virginia Beach, May 20. 21 and 22. That's the big one. That's eVTOL and VTOL, conventional and new. It's kind of everything. It's a whopper. A lot of papers are getting delivered, and a great way to network and meet everybody in the space. That's going to be a good one. The Electric Aircraft Symposium, as usual, will be the weekend right before EAA AirVenture in Oshkosh. That's in July. It's a good one. I've been the last couple of years and really enjoyed that. And then we've got some other technical meetings as well. Anything that anybody on the call has been to lately, or that they can give a report on, or upcoming events that we could be aware of that we could maybe join?
Andrew, this is John Sarrazin. Andrew.
Hey, John.
Hey, so both Rodolph and myself will be presenting at the Electric Aircraft 2025 in end of March in Orange County. So that's another good event. It's a smaller event, but it does have some applicability to electric aircraft as well as different technologies. Obviously, SAFT will be presenting an overview of battery and chemistry technologies, and I'll be a part of a business model and market viability for advanced air mobility discussion. So it's just another good event out there.
Outstanding. And I should tell everyone, John, we're very lucky to hopefully have you as our speaker for next month for our April meeting.
It'll be
an update.
It'll be a combination of myself and Rodolph, right? I'll take more of the market business side of things from SAFT, and then Rodolph will get into the technical capability. Yeah.
That's great. Batteries are like our industry's microchips. Everything's changing, month to month, day to day. So it's great to have regular updates, because we know you guys are hustling and doing a lot with energy density.
Oh yeah.
That's great. That's a good one. Thank you. Anybody else? Events past, present, future?
Let's go this way. Yeah, I got one where Michael, Duke, and I are going to do a LinkedIn kind of webinar, what's called LinkedIn Live event. I'll post the link if you want to sign up. We're just going to do Q&A. We have a list of sort of preset questions we're going to answer that we've already received, but you can register and pop your questions in or join and ask questions through the chat while we're talking. So we'll spend an hour. We're just going to talk about what we see, the key technologies and the key benefits that we think that our aircraft are going to offer. So we've been spending a lot of time talking to organizations and places that have really difficult, complicated regional challenges. So this isn't intra-urban, it's inter-urban. You got to cover 800,000 mile kind of distances over barren nothings, moving small numbers of people. And so we think our aircraft will really address that market. So we're going to have a little Q&A, our first. So lower the bar. We don't know what's going to happen and how the technology is going to play out, but we're hoping it'll go well. And then if it does, we'll do a few more.
That's great.
Thanks.
You're in the regional air
Andrew.
mobility space, and a little bit of AAM and a little bit of RAM.
Yeah, well, we're talking, all kinds of different propulsion systems, but yeah, I mean, it could be a drone. There's been some push for us to develop a drone in one particular place with a desperate need. But mostly the drone market's pretty crowded. It's only because they have to go 1,000 miles that our product is interesting. It's hard to
Good.
carry, a couple 100 pounds, 1,000 miles. So thanks, Andrew.
Oh, that's great.
Andy, I
Love it. Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Well,
people joining. We don't want to, we're kind of hoping not to be alone. What was the famous philosopher that used to give his lectures to an empty room? So we're hoping not to do that.
That's
But
generally what I think is going to happen every month with these meetings. I'm like, I hope someone shows up. And
what was
every
his
time I'm
name?
blessed with all this brilliance.
Yeah, well, when I was lecturer, that used to happen. Sometimes I'd get in there in the classroom and you'd think, are any of these students going to show up or not?
But if they do, they're getting A's.
Well, the whole fail thing really motivated them to show up. So
Right. That's good. That's very good. We'll look in the chat notes, Ben, is that right, to be able to sign up for that?
yeah, I put the link, the announcement in the chat notes, and it's on our LinkedIn company page. So it's around, but I did
Great.
post the link. So anybody should be able to click on the link and jump right over to the event registration.
I signed up, I registered, I will be there. I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward.
So Andrew,
We'll be interested to
Andrew,
hear your questions.
Andrew, I added the link and the agenda for the electric aircraft
Brilliant.
conference, and then Ben, I did register as well. So thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you, John.
Excellent.
We'll look forward to it. Think of some good questions for us. We're hoping not to play stump the Mike and Ben, but it well could happen.
I will
Nothing
throw you
bad.
some doozies. It's going to be great. Finally, somebody else can be put on the spot.
Oh, we've been on the spot before. Yeah.
Good. I'm looking forward. Who else has events to talk about past, present, future?
One
John.
in California here, I think Seaside, will be Monterey Bay Summit called Lift on 27th and 28th of March. And I will put link into chat.
Perfect. Is that the Monterey Dart?
Yes.
Good.
It's instead of Monterey Bay Dart Symposium, it's now Summit. A little bit different. It used to be in the fall, now it's in spring.
Great. I did that one before and really enjoyed it. Excellent. Okay, good. Thanks for dropping that in the notes. Who else? Sheena, you're not busy on working on any events, are you?
No, not at all. No, it's
okay.
It's not like there's like 18 days or anything like until a huge event. No.
Your feet are up on the desk all day.
What?
Your feet are up on the desk all day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just napping in my office. Absolutely. No, so Sun Fun is obviously coming up. So April 1st through the 6th. I know a couple of you have messaged me with interest or booking space in the Innovation Showcase. I'm totally full, which is amazing. Huge goal of mine, especially with it being my first time taking over the Innovation Showcase. So I'm super excited to see everybody in there. But we have a really great week of programming, amazing air shows. Dennis Dunbar is the guy who does all of our air shows, and he won a great award out at ICAST this year. And so we have, the daily air show from 1 to 5. We have a lot of really good educational forums. We have forums right in the Future in Flight Plaza. And then, Tuesday night, we have our concert that's included with your entry. Wednesday night and Saturday night is our night air show, which if you have never seen a night air show before, you will be blown away. I've seen a lot of night air shows because I grew up 2 blocks away from Oshkosh. I was very privileged that way. So I saw that air show from my backyard growing up. But man, this night air show does not hold it's amazing. It's so good. So Wednesday and Saturday nights are that. Thursday we have our bash, which is our really big fundraiser auction. So yeah, we're a little busy during our event. So, but it's going to be really good. If anybody has any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me, LinkedIn or my email. Either one would be great. I'm happy to chat about anything. If you want to come as, just a participant and enjoy the air show, we'd love it.
That's going to be fantastic. It's a great one. I've been past several years running, and that's a lot
and you're
of fun.
coming, right?
Well, let's talk offline.
Andy.
Something came up. Something came up. It's not more important than what you're doing in any way, shape, or form. It was a timing thing.
Just as a valueless comment, I went down to Florida, visited with Andy, and for some reason, my car managed to accumulate a toll charge in Kissimmee.
Yep.
So they've reversed it, but obviously the
Good.
car was on its way to the air show. So
Obviously.
obviously,
I mean, it knew where you should have been going.
clearly it did. It was a pretty smart car, actually.
Let me work on that, Sheena. I have a potential 1-day window. I'd have to do like a hit and run the same day, so on the first day. So maybe I can do that.
All right, let's figure it out.
I'm 3.5 hours away from you. What the world needs is some way for local transportation. I'm thinking vertical that could take me from my house to your airport. We need to work on this. Yeah.
I know. Come on. You guys are all a bunch of slackers. Let's do this already.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
What about a howitzer?
That's this I have the a lot of people say I have the bullet shape already. So I'm ready to go. Anybody else with the events that they've attended or that are upcoming that we would want to know about? These are some good ones. We got some great stuff on the calendar.
I can say a little regarding my trip to India. I'm still discovering this part of the world. So it was last month in Bangalore, Air India. It's everything was so old, absolutely nothing interesting. Something from the 70s, 80s maybe, which are still pretty good for them. But regarding the new technologies, new ways, it's absolutely nothing. Even with the small drones, just like a copy of DJI drones. That's why I even didn't find any possible supplier if I will come to India to produce something. It's absolutely nothing. That's why. But on the other side, it's like a lot of clients and contractors, like generals from Indian Army, who definitely go to you directly, give you a telephone number and say it like, could you send me everything what you have? And what is also nice that they have 2 bits like for sell something to them. So the first is like typical to supply army, like with many due diligence and processes. And the other is like each general can buy something from their own needs, like 1-2 pieces for the starts. That's why they are not so much limited. And it's like really nice to start to work with them, and less restriction to spend this money. That's why like some windows of opportunity.
One time I tried to get some business going in India, and I can tell you that the bureaucratic overheads are ferocious, and it would pay if you have a friend, an Indian friend, who can help you navigate the bureaucratic barriers and bureaucratic hurdles. But anyway, I just warn you that the government bureaucracy is ferocious.
Yeah, sure. But I also working in Germany. That's why we can compare it with Indians. I think German bureaucracy will beat them all. That's all. That's why I'm a little bit more prepared for that.
And the population of India is up to what, 1.1 billion?
I think almost 1.5 billion.
All right, so
it's even more bigger than in China. And what is also interesting, like for this four sites, like they will be in second economy in 2050. So maybe a good time to start to investigate this country now, because still some time, like China, like 30 years ago, something like that. That's why it's pretty interesting. Anyway, they tried to change all these bureaucracy processes. They started to be more open and like try to take as much as possible new technologies. So I'm more or less happy with everything what's going on there. But yeah, sure, you need some local partner. And the main thing that it's too many proposals for you. You need to choose from 30 companies minimum. That's why it's you can spend again a lot of time to understand with whom you want to work. That's why it's this is like the problem with the countries with a big population. So and everyone want to have exclusivity.
Of course they do. You know, I was there. I spent 2 weeks there exactly to this month 20 years ago, and it was growing ferociously then, and it certainly has done nothing but accelerate since then, and will continue to do so. And with that many people and infrastructure that's lagging, they've got, you know, a lot of opportunities to just skip whole generations of technology, and I think that'll be the case with aviation for sure.
Yeah. So regarding the future plans, I want to come to GITEX in Dubai in September, and maybe to Dubai Air Show, because it's also on this area side of the world. So
good, perfect.
Yeah. But like the main experience that I received from all these air shows as a company who want to build a vehicle is that really complex to find any end users on them. That on those exhibitions mainly, like as example, once I paid around 50K for some small exhibition here in Europe. It's European Rotors, first European Rotors exhibition. So I spent 3 days with my full-scale model on it, and everyone want to sell me something, not like buy my vehicle, but like, oh guys, we have a nice autopilot, we have a nice sensors, could you do you want to use it or something like that? And after that, like, oh my god, I don't want to spend too much money on that.
No, I already spent all my money just to be here. Exactly.
Yeah.
Those great events upcoming, and it's good to hear that report on India. There's going to be a lot more to talk about there. It seems to be a friendlier and easier to work with, despite the challenges, partner than China. And having been to India, I just felt like culturally Americans and Indians are very well aligned, and I think Europeans probably too. It's just great people, and just tremendous potential there. So I'm eagerly watching that space as well. I didn't hear anybody mention the Paris Air Show. If I'm correct, I think that the Paris Air Show is every 2 years, and it's coming up this summer. Is that right? Is anybody planning to be there?
Yeah, that's correct. We'll be there. Staff will be there, but it is coming up at the end of June. Correct.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
John, do you know if there's much in the way of advanced air mobility or sort of next generation aircraft tech there, or is it?
They did 2 years ago did a pavilion on just advanced air mobility, which a lot of the major players were there. I do know, I can't really mention it because we have partnerships with some of these, but I do know that some of the main players you would expect are planning on being at the Paris Air Show. So again, I don't know exactly who or wow. I haven't seen anything yet per se about another pavilion this year. I know that, with the Olympics and what happened with Velocopter and others in that area, I'm not sure what the appetite is for that, but I do know that there are advanced mobility will be present at Paris Air Show. Yeah.
Good. That'll be fun. Good excuse to visit. Any other events, past, present, or future, that we should know about or talk about before we introduce our speaker? All right. Well, we'll bring on the main event then. So something that's I'm sure on all of our minds lately, particularly because of the horrible accident that happened in Washington D.C. in January, is traffic deconfliction and separation, and that's always a challenge in aviation and always very important. But as we kind of all do all we can to blacken the skies with eVTOLs and drones and all sorts of new types of aircraft, we're contemplating increasing the volume tremendously and potentially concentrating the takeoff and landings of those aircraft in specific areas like vertiports, rooftops, things like that. And so as we think about that, deconfliction and separation becomes more and more important, and we need to pay serious attention to what strategies and techniques we're going to use to allow operator awareness and also to automate the visibility that we have to nearby traffic and to communicate our traffic position to others as well. And so that's why it's very timely, and we're very lucky to have Matthew Kling with MatrixSpace with us today. MatrixSpace is based in New England, and they've been working hard on AI-based radar systems that give locally based awareness of traffic, whether it's drones or other large aircraft. And so Matthew's going to talk a little bit about what they've been up to, and I think it's very timely, and it's going to be very, very interesting information for us. By way of introduction, Matthew is the VP of Intelligence Systems at MatrixSpace. He leads their autonomous offerings product portfolio. He was previously the director of Expeditionary and Cyber UAS Lab at Northeastern University, and he's led product development teams at Raytheon and 3Com. He's focused on counter-UAS, electronic warfare, EMP, multi-modal sensing, machine learning, AI, and autonomy. He's spent the lion's share of his career involved in development of RF systems, real-time embedded systems, system architecture, engineering, cyber systems, and system integration and testing. He's published papers in the areas of remote control devices and security systems, and he also serves as the director of the AUVSI New England chapter. So with that, Matthew Kling, I'll give you the floor, and everybody else, if we could go ahead and mute so we don't hear dogs and cats meowing and barking, I'd greatly appreciate it, and so we can focus and listen in on Matthew. Matthew, over to you.
Thanks, Andy. Nice to be here with all of you today. Is my audio coming through clear?
Loud and clear. Outstanding.
All right, let me. I've got some slides to go through today. Try and go through some of these rather quickly to get to. I want to make sure we leave some time at the end for any kind of open discussion, Q&A, and of course, Zoom is asking me for security settings to share my screen, and it's going to make me just exit and reopen Zoom, so I'll be right back.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
We're going to talk amongst ourselves.
All right.
So, anybody interested in vertical aircraft? Nick and I were talking about a paper that he's been laboring on for the past year and a half, and I was fascinated. And I'm gonna, after we get offline, I'm gonna send an email to Nick begging him to come back and pick a time to present it to us.
And I suspect what we're going to hear today is right along that alley too.
Good. Okay, good. We've got looks like we've got Matthew back.
All right, now hopefully that comes through and you can see.
We can see it.
All right, very good. Well, like I was saying, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. Hopefully you find what we're working on interesting. I think you will, just listening to the conversations taking place at the start of the meeting. So we'll start by just kind of going through an overview of the company. So a little bit about MatrixSpace. So as Andy said, we're working on AI sensing solutions. It really centers around radar technology, but our roadmap sort of takes that into lots of new directions in the future. And it's for us, it's really about securing and making safe the low airspace. So we'll talk more about that. But our company's been around since it was founded in December of 2019, right before the new year. So basically 2020 was our true founding year. We are a spin out of Northeastern University. And he mentioned that I have ties, was a former lab director there, running a very innovative research lab right in Burlington, Massachusetts at a innovation campus of Northeastern University. The MatrixSpace spun out of a lot of work being conducted at my lab and at a few other labs that were collaborating on some very interesting research projects. And so I joined the company shortly after it was founded. It was founded by no, I'll get into that in a second, but a little bit more about the company first. So we're all based in the U.S. Right in Massachusetts is our headquarters, and then we have another engineering site just outside of Chicago. And so those are our two centers of gravity. And team is about equal size in both places. Total company is up to about 60, 70 people. And supporting all of that work that's going on across the two sites, we've raised upwards of $39 million to date. Some of that is from initial funding from our founders. Some of that is from investment rounds. Some of that is from government investment through SBIR programs and other things like that. So very healthy amount of funding to date to bring our products to market. And now for us this year, it's really about scale for us. So we're getting products out there, broadening our customer bases, and telling people all about how we can help them secure the low airspace. So a little bit just about our leadership team. So on the left, you see Greg Waters. He's our CEO. Greg is a mid and large cap company executive. He's run companies like Skyworks Solutions, the largest RF module provider in the world, and then also Integrated Device Technologies as president and general manager of IDT. He successfully negotiated a sale of that company for over $8 billion. And so after that, he decided he wanted to take his chance at the startup game. And he was really looking for his next big thing in AI and sensing and autonomy and within the drone and low airspace industries. And then you have the rest of our leadership team here: Dan Noby, Laurie DiMatteis, Nahar Nanda, George Justiniano, and our latest addition, Wes Boyd, just joined us at the beginning of the year. And so what does MatrixSpace actually do? So it's really kind of three key areas that we focus on. It's low airspace safety and security, as I already mentioned, right? So we kind of think about what's right above our heads, right? Where is the gap in the air traffic control network that we have today, where that system is not designed to see, it's not designed to operate, and you have lower flying, slower flying aircraft that don't fit within that architecture. And then we have things like site security. So this is like fixed site perimeters, borders, sites, like high value assets with a lot of soft targets for security: airports, ports, sports venues, anywhere like that, campuses. And then beyond the that application, we have a number of partners that we're working with on all sorts of outdoor autonomous vehicle applications. And that could be ground vehicles, and that could be things that fly as well. So both of those. And our product, which you'll learn a lot more about today, is a very unique radar solution that we offer integrations with other sensor types like optical, and things like ADS-B or remote ID for drones, passive RF sensing. We can easily integrate our radar with any of those. In the future, we will also scale to include multi-sensor products that include things like optical and some of those others that I mentioned. In our bread and butter solution is ultra lightweight, portable, low cost, can be deployed en masse sensor solutions. And since they're small and portable and lightweight and low power, they can go anywhere. They don't need a lot of advanced or complex infrastructure to operate. And they can go on to, most importantly, they can go on to all types of vehicles. And that's really what it's all about for us, right? So we've spent the first few years developing the hardware product, and as well as the AI sensing software that goes on top of that. So looking at a little bit about our roadmap, things that we're working on today. We have our Generation 1 radar that we call it, which is about 30 watts of power, so less than an incandescent light bulb. It's the size of a smartphone, and it has a tracking range on a Cessna 172 of about 2.5 kilometers. So if you put that in a configuration, a hemispherical configuration, you get about 5 kilometers of track range, track diameter, or 3 miles. We're also working. This is in development right now. Will be delivered early next year. A second generation radar that is more of the size of a laptop, and that is going to be a much longer range radar product. So that will be 9 to 10 kilometer range, and so then we really have two very complementary products. And the Generation 2 is really served to go towards larger geographic areas where our Gen 1 radar, where we would have to use maybe many of them to get a coverage area. The Generation 2 will be able to span that area much easier. And then so we take those radar products and then we package them into deployable kind of turnkey systems and solutions. We have a 360 radar system. There's a slide on that. We have what we call our Expeditionary radar. This is a highly portable, set it up in 2 minutes, and you have right there at your point of operations, whatever you're doing, you're flying drones, you want to have airspace security as a soldier, you're a law enforcement officer, and you're trying to pick up rogue drones somewhere, or you're conducting first responder operations with drones, and you want to have a point of operations radar solution for detect, alert, and avoid. And then all of the vehicle integrated radars that I mentioned before. And then it keeps going sort of down that list, right? And then so within all of those products, those systems we sell, it's all about radar and optical with AI. It's all about our AI sensing platform that we call MatrixSpace AI or MSAI. And then it's all about building the data and the intelligence that's needed to truly secure that low airspace. We partner a lot with the military, as I'm sure a lot of people here on this call today also do with your work. Radars are obviously invented by the military, and so any kind of new radar technology they're obviously very, very interested in, especially one that's so small, scalable, and low cost as the one that we've developed. So the Air Force is probably our biggest partner. However, we've done work with the Army, Special Forces, and even foreign militaries as well. I'll probably skip over this because I've already talked about all of these things. And by the way, I can make these slides available for anyone that's interested. Of course, you'll have them on the video. But these are all the different applications that we're working on today. And so some of these are a little more well established right now. Probably one that this group cares deeply about is this one. So I can talk about this through the rest of the presentation today, and a little bit of how how we fit into the eVTOL space and what our vision is as a part of that ecosystem. But yeah, then I've talked about all these other ones as well. So now let's talk about MatrixSpace products for a few minutes and what it is that we actually build and sell. So we call our Generation 1 radar a medium range, low airspace radar. It's the what we believe is the world's smallest, lightest, lowest weight, lowest cost, most portable radar solution that's out there. It's millimeter wave. It it fits in easily in a backpack or a small carrying case with its its size and weight listed here. We successfully brought the product through all regulatory testing and approvals before the product launched last year. So the product did launch officially last January, so just over a year ago, and that was after a lengthy process of going through all the regulatory approvals with FCC and FAA. And the FAA actually is we're very tied in with them, especially with a lot of the counter-UAS and drone first responder, detect, alert, and avoid, BVLOS type operations. A few more detailed specifications on the product. And so I already mentioned about 2.5 kilometers for a Cessna for a Group 1 drone. So this would be your you're on the larger size of your hobbyist drones. We'll have a track range of a kilometer. Of course, that Group 1 includes drones that go down much smaller. So it could be, depending on the exact drone that's there. An example might be like a DJI Mavic Mini will be about 400 to 500 meters. And if you've ever seen a Mavic Mini, you can literally hold it in the palm of one hand. And by the way, we also not necessarily for this group, but just to give you an idea of radar performance, we can track a golf ball out to easily 300 meters. And we actually do have some partners working on sports applications with the radar. So the some of the other specifications, it's about 2.5 degree angle accuracy. So that directly impacts the track accuracy. What's the angular, how close can we get to ground truth on the both azimuth and elevation angles? That's one of the obviously larger challenges with radar is angular accuracy. We believe we do a pretty good job at that. Uses a 40 megahertz bandwidth radar waveform. That gives us just under 4 meters of range resolution, which works very, very well for smaller, lower flying aircraft and drones and things like that. It uses a fast scanning algorithm. It's a phased array antenna, so it can scan an entire volume in just about half a second. Can support hundreds of tracks simultaneously. It uses a track while scan mode, so it can literally track hundreds of targets. Now, it's only covering, I would say, a fairly small airspace volume, and so if you had hundreds of tracks within our airspace volume, it might be a concern. It's tuned again for that lower, slower flying aircraft. So, we go up to about for a maximum radial velocity about 200 miles per hour. And that covers a lot of the targets that we care about today. Of course, eVTOLs, may fly faster than that in the future, and our larger Generation 2 radar will have a much higher maximum radial velocity. It's very easy to interface to. It's all open source based. Can use protocols like MQTT, 0MQ, Asterix, and then even for the military, ATAC and COD. Low power operations. So that's the single radar, right? And that's sort of like the core product. Now, how do we package that up into solutions that serve different market segments? This is what we call MatrixSpace 360 AI radar. We have this deployed all over the US right now on rooftops of police departments, fire departments, municipal buildings, for cities. We're working very closely with a number of cities and their governments, their police departments, their first responders. This system is intended to help deconflict the low airspace so first responders can fly drones to have a better response to any type of situation they need to deal with. And so how does it work? Each radar is put up on a mast, and they scan their field of view, and then all of the data is aggregated together inside this box. There is an AI processor and a software stack running on here that will create basically a long-term database of information, and it will make that available through our APIs to third-party customers and other solution providers that integrate with our sensor systems. So talking a little bit more about drone as first responder. So the whole idea, I'm sure you're all very familiar with this, but just in case, so I'll give a quick summary. So the idea is that you want to detect and track all of the objects in the low airspace to help deconflict and make it a safe place to operate friendly vehicles, and then to identify anything that's rogue or non-cooperative. In drone as a first responder, the whole idea is for police departments to be able to have a faster 911 call response time. And so this system that's shown here, this is actually in Brooklyn. It's one of our systems that's deployed with a partner. There's a whole drone in a box solution that goes with this. And there is also a DAA software solution that takes our radar data and creates one kind of single pane of glass that lets the police drone operators control the whole system. So the idea is, that remote pilot will get a call, they'll request a drone to be launched. The system will automatically use the available radar data to deconflict the airspace. It will do a check of the airspace. Am I clear to launch? The drone will be launched, it'll transit to the desired location, and then our radars provide the continuous monitoring along the way, along the flight path, to ensure that there's nothing else that's going to encroach onto that area. And with this city or with this system in New York City, this is actually a track that I just took from this morning. It's a very active police helicopter corridor and helicopter taxi corridor. You have JFK Airport right here. There is constant air traffic between JFK and Manhattan for helicopter taxi service all day long. There's also a very active police helicopter corridor in here as well. So when they want to launch a drone, they need to make sure for certain that there's no helicopters. Now, ADS-B is a solution for that, but FAA wants more than just ADS-B. They don't want to rely solely on just a system. They obviously want redundant sensors with ADS-B, and radar is their other sensor of preference. So, and then of course we've seen even military drones or military helicopters flying through here, Blackhawks, and they may not be broadcasting ADS-B, but the radar still is able to pick them up and provide that airspace security. So then getting into that's more of on like our fixed sensor solutions and what we're doing there. Then we have this other product that we call Expeditionary AI Radar. This is basically a small suitcase. This can be just carried by one person, or it can fit in a backpack. It's a very small, rapidly deployable radar kit that gives you everything you need just to set up and operate a radar wherever you need it. With the AI process, the rugged AI processor and the MatrixSpace radar consumes less than 60 watts of power. You can easily run that off of a small battery and solar panel wherever you need it. Everything is ruggedized, all IP rated, up to a minimum IP66 on this product. And the goal here, and it says it right in the bottom, is from packing to tracking in under 2 minutes. So who is the audience for that product? That's really about military and then law enforcement. And so we work, as I mentioned, very closely with the Air Force, also with Special Forces in the Army. And one of the biggest gaps that exists today on the front lines is most of the sensors that are capable of securing the low airspace are not deployed to front lines, and they're big, expensive, and they become the first target that gets taken out. So what we want to do is enable every soldier that's on the ground and is near or on the front lines to have a sensor solution that they can deploy, and right there with them have airspace awareness around what's flying around them. So that is that product. And I'll talk a little bit about MatrixSpace AI, because for us, it's not just about the sensor solutions. It's about what we can do with the data that we provide. And so we have invested heavily in creating an entire platform that we call MSAI. It's not just doing radar classifications and telling you what kind of object there is, but it creates an entire edge to cloud solution that aggregates information and makes it available in a very easily usable way by anyone that uses our products. So they have access to these feature-rich databases of information now that helps them with their operations and decision making. And so how does this MSAI platform work? It starts, you read this slide going kind of from the edge on the right. We have sensor solutions that run our edge software stack. That edge software stack is doing all of the real-time radar signal and data processing. And then the edge AI, which is providing right there on that particular sensor, providing AI classification to tell you what kind of target it is. Not just that there's something there, but it's a helicopter or it's a plane. And also right there, you can plug right into that system and you can pull up a display and you can see exactly what that system is seeing, and you can operate it. But then it goes all the way to the cloud, where if this system has a connection to the cloud, it will communicate with our cloud software and what we call our sensor gateway that will take in that information and make it available in a single pane of glass. And so you can think about it like if you are a customer that has radars deployed all over the US, you can see every single one of those and you can interact, monitor, control, maintain, update, whatever you need to do for all those systems. So this is great for, for the military. Obviously, the cloud becomes more of like a military cloud solution. So that's something we're working on with them. But for more commercial focused applications, you think about like an eVTOL provider that has different deployments across the US, and they want to be able to monitor all of their operations for all of your landing pads, your launch sites, whatever it is. You can do that all through one single place. Also, you have one API in the cloud that will provide access to all that data coming from each of those individual sites that you have deployed. So it's really more about than just the AI. It's about providing access to data in a scalable way. And so some of the benefits of MatrixSpace AI, we do an extremely good job of removing clutter and background noise with our AI classification. And why is that important? Well, if you think about the problem that traditional radars are trying to solve, big, expensive FAA air traffic control radars, they're pointing up at the sky. They filter out everything that's at low elevation because it's a high clutter region. Very hard to use radar in that low elevation, low grazing angle. So we have focused all of our effort on making sure we can give a clean display and only display targets of interest to our users. And so a lot of our efforts on AI goes to eliminating all of that background clutter, objects that you don't care about. So it lets it lets the users, and whatever their mission is, whatever their job is, lets them focus on that job. So a couple more slides, and then we have about 10 minutes for Q&A, it looks like. So just visions of the future. So we talk about low airspace security, and our vision is that we provide a low-cost, scalable solution that can be deployed all over the place to not just support these DFR, drone first responder applications, but eVTOL. And we are working with actually check out our website. One of our premier partners on the eVTOL side is Skyways. And they are working on creating the vertiports of the future. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with them, but we are partnering with them to deploy our radar technology at their vertiports, where we will provide that low airspace monitoring and protection. And we can do this in a very, very scalable way, right? So in the future, it's about sensor networks that provide easy access to data about the low airspace. And then the digital battlefield of the future is another key area for us that we are working to fulfill key gaps in. And that's really what I said before, which is about that giving every soldier that is on or near the front lines the sensing capabilities and the intelligence they need to know when there's threats above their head, and that then they can react appropriately to that. Today, with what we're seeing in places like Israel and Ukraine, whoever has the most drones is going to win. And so we need scalable, low-cost ways to combat that for our military, to keep our soldiers and our defenders safe. So that's what I have for today. I'll stop my screen share, and we can have a little bit of Q&A here.
Outstanding, Matthew. That was fantastic. And I know it's good because we already in the chat got multiple requests for people, if to the extent that you're comfortable, is to be able to receive the slide deck.
Yeah, I
if
can
not, we always record the meetings, but we had a couple requests for it, and so people are obviously interested. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other, Danny Macco had a good question. He said, wondering if there is a localized weather component combined with the air traffic capabilities. He said, I'm thinking about fire and emergency services deployments.
Yeah, great question. So we're primarily working with police departments today. However, we do have a lot of questions coming in from fire as well. And because it's not just about 911 calls for police response, it could be, and an example for fire is it could be for monitoring, right? To go and get a drone. Actually, we did some early work with the New York Fire Department. They are looking at deploying technology like this as first responders, right? How do you use drones in a dense urban environment to better respond to fire situations? And then even looking out at what just happened in California with all of the horrific wildfires. There were big problems with hobbyists flying drones out there. And if you didn't see it in the news, what happened was all of the first responder aircraft, planes, helicopters, they had to be grounded actually because a drone did collide with an aircraft. Now, luckily, there was no loss of life, but it is a real concern for firefighters when they're out there trying to just focus on their job. They have to worry about people flying these drones because they want to try and get footage of what's going on, and they don't realize that they're actually putting first responders in danger. And so we were they ended up not using our system, but we are on many calls about, they did not have the equipment they needed to detect drones. And so they were the whole LA County Fire Department was kind of looking for, hey, does anyone have any systems they can bring out and set up and help us? Because last thing we want is for someone to one of our first responders, one of our firefighters, to get hurt because someone was just ignorant of the rules around flying drones safely. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, Nick, I see you have a question.
Yeah, Matthew, what a great pitch, and what a great piece of technology. In fact, it fits very well, like almost like hand in glove with what we've been talking about at the AIAA and National Academy of Engineering with regard to what the future air traffic system must look like. And what you've answered is a question of how do we sterilize? How do we assure whatever traffic control system there is between vehicles? How do we actually know that we understand where the vehicles are? And you've given us the ability to plant a device and have a cross check and a sterilization. It's terrific, just terrific. Question number one. How about different weather patterns? Sleet, snow, rain. You have a pretty good conspicuity with that?
yeah, so it'll operate in all weather conditions. Obviously, there'll be some degradation depending on you know, how much. But I would say, you know, with even you know, a light to a moderate rain rate, we'll have some degradation in performance. But we're able to adjust things like sensitivity and thresholds, and we're able to detect and track through that. So clouds, smoke, light to moderate rain. Even some, you know, some snow. I don't know that we've actually done any sleet yet and seen that, but we have a system up in Toronto, just outside of Toronto. We have a system in New York City. Of course, we have a system at our headquarters right in Burlington, Massachusetts. And those have been up and running in all weather conditions, providing all sorts of data to us, you know, through whatever it is.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, my thoughts are that we should stay in contact. I'd very much like to invite you to be part of what we're doing because I think you can bring to the table something we've notionalized but never actually saw, and you've got something that's practical and working.
Yeah, you know, listening to you guys talk, I'd be happy to. I would love to, you know, join your group and be a part of some of these conversations. It's really intriguing. That's how I got into AUVSI. In fact, maybe there's some collaborations between Vertical Flight Society and AUVSI.
Sure.
We have very similar conversations to the types of things you guys are talking about as well.
In fact, what we're talking about doing is forming a committee, a government industry committee, to help form the future air traffic management system.
Yeah.
Help work together rather than asking the FAA to try and invent something, and rather than have detect and avoid for all flight vehicles, there'd be a way to do it as you're doing it, a network, and also have the vehicle self-report. And you blend these systems together, just as we blend all of our digital systems together, we end up with a very good knowledge of the airspace. And then once you've got the data, it's easy to just sort it out.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, that's the idea.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Well, so we just have less than a minute left. Excellent Q&A. Any other real quick questions that we could get a quick answer to before we sign off? Somebody just dropped a new message. Matthew, I'll ask a quick one. Well, hopefully a quick one. Is this a standardized data exchange interface that can be used to send this information to aircraft that they can then digest for deconfliction or avoidance?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's not necessarily a standard around this yet. So if you look at things like detect, alert, and avoid, and what the FAA and what industry groups have done there are standards around that from RTCA and the DO standards, DO 381, DO 365, and 366 for detect, alert, and avoid. There are, I would say, high-level interface specifications, but it's more around the type of information that your interface should have, and less around the specific data formats. I think as you know, an industry group, you know, AUVSI is working on this. Obviously, it's something front and center in your mind. I think it would be great to actually start to create those interface standards for data exchange.
Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. Great meeting. I got to tell you, the feedback on the chat is excellent. We really got a lot out of you being here, and thanks for the excellent presentation and all the hard work that you've been doing.
Yeah, and you shared my contact information. If anyone else would like to engage separately, just you know, feel free to reach out.
There you go.
Perfect. Outstanding. And you're on the roster, so we'll be sure to get you invitations to all the future meetings.
Yeah, very interesting discussion. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Real pleasure. Everybody got a lot out of it. Thanks, Matthew.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.